Alright guys, so got motor off the Bobcat. We're gonna tear into it. I've been waiting for this for a long time to get my hands on this. Never done anything like this in my life, but from what I watched on YouTube, this is basically a brake. There's gonna be a motor itself right in here. Oops, right in basically in the middle section, and this is just the hub. We're gonna tear into it and see what the damage is. So as soon as I started taking bolts off of speed sensor, water started coming out. This is not a good sign. So yeah, this motor was pretty much full of water. Well, maybe not full, but there's a lot of water. So this is the brake plate or whatever it's called. When I started taking bolts out, it pushed out that plate and nothing comes out, so that means the seal is good on the piston. Looking at that, looks like there is no water. Looks like it's full of oil, so at least looks like the brake part of this motor is gonna be good. So let's dig in further. So a little bit of water did come out, but I think since there is no rust, I think the oil was not letting water to come in from the motor section itself, and as soon as the oil escaped, water poured in. So I think we're good on at least on these parts. So to remove the bearing is the inner bearing is pretty much a standard way. There's nothing special to it. The only thing, because this bearing is so big, so I guess you will have to get a couple of steel blocks, steel bars, because the surface of this housing, or whatever you want to call it, and surface of the other part, the other housing that sits on top, they're flush in here. They're flush, so you can't put blocks without building some sort of contraption. So basically what you would have to do, you would have to get like 6x6 blocks, put them on your press, and then lay those bars across those blocks. That way you can stick those bars in between these surfaces, and your upper housing is going to be sitting on those bars, and you just press this shaft out of that bearing. I think it's pretty standard. You just need proper tools. That particular one is a little bit different case for me. Maybe someone know an easy way. Again, I've seen people doing weld beads. I've seen people chisel it out. There are people that will cut with a grinder, cross cut, and then just hit it with the chisel. It will break apart, making it loose, and then you pull it out. I didn't want to go this route. I didn't see anybody cut this particular hub. Not that it's really special, but I think it would work better on that race when you're trying to remove that race. On that particular one, I don't know, I feel it's not. But anyway, as far as assembling hub, There is nothing special to it except when you put this seal, face seal or whatever it's called, in both of these pieces, you just have to be really careful with the rubber round O-ring. Tuck it in. There are a couple of videos on YouTube how to do it, but basically you just press it in, make sure it's not twisting, and just go around slowly, and pretty much nothing to it. So once you install all the seals, you put that portion of the hub on here, put your new bearing on to the shaft, and you just press that bearing in. You have to have a pretty strong press. Mine is just a regular Harbor Freight press, but I was able to use mine to do it with mine easily. You just basically press it all the way in, spin once in a while, make sure you're not binding or anything, and once you're all the way in, you put your washer and that split ring. I basically had to, it went in so tight, I had to like very carefully hammer it in. But this is how it was when I was taking it apart. It was really snug, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be. So there's not much. I forgot to mention about the race. There's nothing really special, but just want to show how I do the race on this one. I would put a little bit of grease on the surface. It's probably not necessary, but I think it will, well, hopefully it will help you out with putting a race in. The way I do it, I've seen guys hammering straight on the race. You gotta get yourself a pretty heavy hammer and just go gently around, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because I don't want to put any nicks into the race. So I take an old race and beat up on old race. I've used this particular one on that motor. There are no visible damages, at least like easily visible damages on it, but I kind of go gentle and just go around, hold it with my hand and go around with the heavy, some kind of heavy hammer. So yes, the race went in much easier with grease. The one that I've done previously, I didn't use grease, and definitely use grease. It went in much easier. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the seal. I'm gonna grease the surface and hammer this seal in with this. I have a kit for installing bearings, and I have this in my kit, and it's actually perfect size. So I'm gonna use this, but if you don't have that, you can use an old seal and hammer on an old seal. Okay, if you get your seal from the place where I got it from, CR Components, I think, it comes, this face seal comes like this. I believe it doesn't matter which is which. I believe they're exactly the same. So you put it on like this, you just lay it down like that, and you have to use something that is not sharp so you don't cut the rubber. I have this plastic tool. I kind of rounded the corners, and you just press it in like this and just go around. When I did that motor, I didn't put any grease, and it went in fairly easy. It wasn't difficult at all. At the very end, it just, you will get a little bit excess, a little bit like round up but once you press it in, I guess it evens out itself. But in this case, I'm gonna use a light coat of grease. Somewhere on the internet or in a service manual, I can't remember, I've seen somebody mentioning that you're not supposed to use grease. I'm not sure why, but I will use a light coat just to make things a little bit easier. I'm basically just gonna dip my fingers and gonna just go around just to make it kind of thin coat, very thin coat. I'm gonna take an excess off and I will let you know whether that was a good idea or not. Ideally, so yeah, I would say, guys, do use grease. This one went in really easy. So anyway, I'm gonna clean up this surface. I'm gonna apply a little bit of grease as it recommended by manual, and I'm gonna take this portion of the hub, put it on, put new bearing on, grease the shaft, put new bearing on, and press it in. And that's gonna be it for the hub assembly. Well, obviously I will have to put I don't have them here, but the washer and the half snap ring or whatever, half ring on. So yeah. Okay, so this is the setup I have. Got this hub housing installed on this portion of the hub. I've greased shaft, and this is the new bearing. I have this tool which comes in a kit for installing bearings. If you don't have a tool like this, what you can do, you can take an old race, this race from an old bearing, make a slot in it and use that to push it in. So yeah, let's do it. I'll try to film it as I do it with one hand. Okay, so it feels that it is bottom down. Yep. Okay, half ring is in. This one put up a little fight, not too bad. Basically you have to press it like really hard. Well, you have to be careful not over press it, I guess, because you can damage the bearings. I think recommended is 9,000 pounds, something like that. My press is 20,000 pounds, but when it bottoms out, you pretty much feel it, that's it. It's not, you can't go any further, but you know, you have to push it further till you can get this half ring in, because otherwise you're just going to be damaging either ring or splines. So yeah, be careful with that. Okay guys, so when you get to this point, when you're ready to start assembling your brakes, there are a couple of videos online where people assembling these motors, and I've seen someone doing this particular motor, and they would start with putting all your brake discs on and then doing your brake housing, trying to make brake housing fit over the brake discs. I tried that on other motor, and it's not working. It's just gonna take forever, and there is a good chance you can damage your discs because this housing going on very tightly. You basically have to hammer this housing onto your motor, and you can easily break your brake discs. So what I did, I first mounted the brake housing and then put my brake discs one by one. Another reason why you should do that is because you want to oil your brake discs when you start your engine. You don't want them to be dry. You don't want to burn them. So yeah, and let's do this first, and then I'll show you another tip with an O-ring. Okay guys, so when you get to this point, when you installed all of your brake discs, you will have I think there's two options, at least there are two options that come in the kit. You can either use seal like this, or you can use an O-ring, but you will have to have this little like a retainer that is held in here with the snap ring, and it has a groove for that O-ring. So I opted for the O-ring because this is what came in originally in this motor. Well, it looks like someone's done it, worked on it prior, but still, the other motor also had this setup, this O-ring with that little retainer. So when you put your piston in, there is a chance for you to knock this O-ring out, because your piston has let me show you. So your piston has this little part, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, and that O-ring is gonna ride right on top of this part. It's got a little bevel, so when you install it, it should slide in and kind of push that seal out and not knock it out of the place. But if you put this piston in some crooked way, not evenly, then there is a chance for you to knock that O-ring out. I put piston in a couple times and pulled it out, and I found the ring to be off. I'm not sure if it was due to I was using an air to pop this piston out, and maybe air somehow knocked that O-ring out. But I would suggest being very, very careful with when you install this piston, and you want to install it as leveled as possible, as flat as possible, not knocking one side then the other, because it will increase, I believe it will increase your chances of knocking that O-ring out. So this is pretty much all that there is to rebuilding these motors. Well, I guess there is more to it, but in my case, that's about it. This motor was in service prior to the, well, at least I believe it was in service prior to the fire. And looking at brake discs and that assembly with the rollers, everything looks really nice. There are there are no score marks, no excessive wear anywhere in the motor. So I think these motors are in a pretty good shape. So basically what I had to do is just clean them and change seals, and that's about it. So I'm gonna finish assembling this motor and clean it up a little bit, maybe spray some paint on it, and that's gonna be it for this particular project.